Hey, Parper 12 here, back with another Aeronautica video. I hope that you saw and enjoyed my last one, and I am back today doing another video on Aeronautica. Today I am doing more of a tips and tricks kind of video, just 6 little tips I have on the back of my mind that I thought would be good to share. These will help with either new or late game players, it doesn't really matter, just good things to know. So, first tip, fly high. When flying low, your fuel goes down a lot faster than when you're in the air. The fuel consumption largely decreases at high altitudes, so you should always fly close to your aircraft's service ceiling. Be careful not to go too high though, as your aircraft will stall. The aircraft you're flying might have a range of, say, 150 nautical miles, but flying at altitude could easily allow you to fly 250. And I've done that myself before in, I believe it was the Boeing 737-600. For the second tip, when trying to make money, use job chains. For those who don't know what job chaining is, it's essentially exactly what it sounds like. You chain your jobs. Chaining these jobs adds a small multiplier onto your WP and cash reward each time you do a job. That multiplier increases slightly each time. And so, how do you do this? Well, you're going to want to start a job, of course, and when you finish that job, don't end the flame. You instead want to start a new job and refuel on the ground at one of the nearby refueling tanks at the airport. You then will have to fly to your next location that the job is requiring, and then you want to repeat that. Each time you'll have an increase on the reward multiplier. Keep in mind though, you cannot go to the same airport more than once during a job chain until you've gone to at least 20 other airports. This means that job chains also only work with jobs that don't require you to return to the airport you started at, and also require you to arrive at another airport to complete the job, like transports and charters. For your third tip, if you run out of fuel, the plane you are in can usually glide for a small distance, which increases depending on its height and speed, so you are not immediately doomed if you run out of fuel. Unlike aircraft though, helicopters do not have this ability, as they don't have something called auto-rotation, which in real life allows helicopters to slowly descend if their rotors were to stop. This is essentially because the air travels up through the rotors while the helicopter is falling, making them spin, allowing the helicopter to have a little bit of lift, keeping it in a slow descent rather than just plummeting to the ground. But Aeronautica does not have this feature, so if you run out of fuel, then you will fall out of the sky and crash. So be careful not to run out of fuel during a helicopter job. To avoid this though, you are, in both planes and helicopters, allowed to land and refuel at any airport fuel tank during a job. My fourth tip, and the one I think is honestly the most valuable in my opinion, is use the vehicle database. The vehicle database is a very useful feature and is essentially an encyclopedia on every single aircraft or any type of vehicle for that matter in the game. Boats, blimps, whatever. It shows everything about a vehicle, like its stats, the rarity, and the type of jobs it can do, whether or not it has advanced livery access or access to advanced customizations, and the way to obtain it. If it's sold at a dealership, it will tell you where and the price of the vehicle. It is a really useful material and I use it all the time, and it can even be accessed during transit by pressing tab. I like to use it when I have an aircraft I want to buy and I want to find what airport it's at, or if there's a type of aircraft I want to get one of to do the jobs for. For example, I was doing reconnaissance yesterday. For the fifth tip, we're going to refer back to advanced customization, which I mentioned in the last tip. Look at the advanced customization options of a vehicle when they are available. A lot of the time, customizations on an aircraft are more than just purely cosmetic, and can increase things like range, speed, and decrease the stall speed of the aircraft you're in. And that overall can increase the performance of the aircraft. And they are quite cheap as well, usually costing at most 5,000 WP, but any aircraft that have advanced customizations usually are obtained at the point where that's going to be quite a small amount of WP. Speaking of stats, for the sixth tip, I'm going to say pay attention to the stall speed of the aircraft you use. It is also the speed where your aircraft can lift off from the ground. The lower it is, the less speed and less runway you will need to take off. It allows you to determine more or less how long it will take you to stop on a runway, as you can land at a slower speed and stop faster. I find this very useful because there are some incredibly short runways in Aeronautica, so this should definitely be kept in mind. Those are all the tips I have at the moment, as these were just things I came up with on the top of my head, and I thought were good to know for all players, new and long time, just to try and be helpful to the community. I thank everyone for watching. If you have any content suggestions you want to see from me, let me know in the comments, and I'll take it into consideration. I like to respond to all the comments I get as well, so feel free to leave one, I'll probably respond. Now go ahead and have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.